How you doing? I'm Darren with Kickin BBQ. If this is your first time to the channel, then welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Happy 4th of July, y'all. Today we are cooking up some absolutely amazing firecracker ribs. And why are they called firecracker ribs? Because it is going to be a literal explosion of flavor in your mouth. Gonna be sweet with a little bit of heat. Everything's gonna be balanced. And best of all, we are cooking on probably the most patriotic smoker that I own. So let's jump in and get these firecracker ribs prepped up right now. All right, so here is our rack of St. Louis cut ribs. You can see we have a lot of intermuscular marbling in there. We have some pretty heavy fat right here. We're gonna take that down. I'll show you how to do that. This is just a rack of ribs I picked up from my local grocery store. And the first thing we have to do is get these trimmed up to fit our cooker. First thing I'm gonna do is just come in and take off this end bone right here, just trying to square these up a little bit. So we'll take that off. Come in, we'll take this skirt off. And like I've said before, you can use this for sausage, you can use it for beans, you can use it for a lot of different things. One of my favorite things to use these scraps for is trying out new rubs, season it up, throw it on the grill with these ribs and see if you like a new seasoning you're thinking about trying. That way, if you don't like it, you're not wasting a whole rack of ribs. So I'm gonna find the end bone right here, and I'm just gonna come in and just square these off just like so. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is flip it over. We're gonna take a look at the top side. See, we have a little chunk of fat right there. Kind of a rough trimmed rack right here from the store, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. You gotta just make it work. I'm just gonna take off some of this extra meat on the edge right here. Just like so. It's looking a little better. You can see right here, we still have a pretty heavy amount of fat. I'm just gonna take that down a little bit so it'll render out. That's looking pretty decent right there. Now this side is looking pretty good. Just want it nice and even. Just gonna square it up a little bit. That's looking pretty good. You can see right here we have pretty heavy fat right there. All we're gonna do is just take this down a little bit, and this is all it's gonna look like. You can see it exposes that meat. It's gonna take down that fat to where it's gonna render. That's gonna look really, really nice. Just gonna take all these deep pockets out. You can see I'm really not losing any meat. You wanna leave some of the fat, obviously, but this is a really well marbled rack, and we don't need all this extra thick fat. Even on these ends down here, let's come in and take that out. All right, so this rack of ribs is looking pretty good. We do have to go ahead and remove the membrane, which it looks like they were already generous enough to start for us in the facility. So you know what, we're just gonna follow this line just like so, and then just make our lives a little bit easier to get this off. You can use a paper towel if you want. Definitely makes life a little bit easier. All right, I'm gonna call that good enough. We got a little bit of the membrane on right there. If you're really concerned about it, you can just take it off like that. It is not a big deal. We are just eating these at home, and I don't really care, membrane on, membrane off. Doesn't bother me, I don't have a preference. But that is a nice looking rack of ribs. All right, so to season up our firecracker ribs, the first rub we're coming in with today is Sucklebuster's SPG Hot. This stuff is awesome if you wanna add a little kick to anything. So let's get the first layer of seasoning on right now. We're just gonna go pretty light with this because it's packing a lot of flavor in a little amount, just like that. And the next rub we're coming in with is my Kickin BBQ Honey Chipotle. We're gonna get a nice bit of sweetness and just a faint bit of heat from this. And this is gonna be our primary rub. All we'll do next is repeat the process on the top side. SPG Hot, Honey Chipotle. All right, guys, and I just wanted to mention, if you don't have these rubs and you want to make this weekend, just use a rub with a little bit of heat and use a rub with a little bit of sweet. You're going for a balanced sweet heat on here. Nothing that's going to blow your socks off one way or the other. Obviously, I recommend these rubs. but use what you like, make it your own, improvise. That is what barbecue is all about. Today we're gonna be rocking at about 225 to 275. We're not gonna be super picky. We are cooking on the Weber Star Spangled Kettle because obviously it is the 4th of July here in America, and what's more American than a flag kettle? Now, there is no temp gauge on this, so we'll be using the fireboard to monitor our temps. I'm not gonna be too picky about our temps today. 225, 275, somewhere in there, I'm gonna be happy. We're gonna be using cherry wood for our smoke. So I'm gonna let this sweat in, go and get the kettle rolling, and when it's time to get these on, I'll bring you outside. See you then. All right, guys, and here she is in all her glory, the Weber Star Spangled Banner Kettle. We are rocking Smoky Woods lump charcoal with Smoky Woods cherry chunks. So that is our setup. We have the fireboard drive 2 monitoring our grate temp because, like I said, there's no lid thermometer on here. Not a big deal. We'll make it work. Improvise, like I said, make it your own. So that's what we're cooking on today. Let's get these ribs on. We're sitting at about 230 degrees. All right, so let's go ahead and get the lid off here. Get that hung. You can see I have the slow and sear insert in here. I have the water reservoir full of water just for some moisture in there. I have the dripping griddle underneath just to catch the drippings and keep this thing clean. Now I did buy one for looking and one for cooking of these because I just had to. So we're gonna get these ribs on just like so. We'll get them bunched up, get them straightened out. And those are looking real nice. We got good color on there already. Now all I've done here is just take some cherry wood chunks, actually just one chunk, and broke it down into smaller chunks. Efficiency. Just put them over the coals there, let them go. I'm gonna get these covered up. We're gonna let them go a few hours here and just see how they turn out. So I'll bring you back when it's time to check on these. I don't know how long that's gonna be. It's like 100 degrees out right now, so probably hour and a half. We'll see you then. All right, so it has been about an hour and a half just checking in on these ribs. You can see they are looking amazing. We have some wonderful color. Still not the color I'm looking for, and we are cooking to color today. You can see we still have some moisture up top here. We're just gonna let this go probably another hour and a half. We're rocking at about 270-ish degrees with an average of about 230 based off the chart here. But everything is looking great. I'm saying another hour and a half. I'll bring you back when it's time to wrap this and let you know how long it's been. I'll probably check them after an hour. And like I said, I'll let you know how much longer it takes, but we're strictly cooking to color right here. They're looking good so far. We have some nice cherry smoke on there. Everything's looking really good. I'm gonna get this closed up so we maintain our heat, and we'll see you when it's time to wrap. All right, so it has been another hour. We are 2.5 hours into this cook, and look how beautiful those ribs look. We got great color, we got great bark formation here. The rub is sticking, it's not coming off. This is exactly what I'm looking for. We're gonna get these in the house, get them wrapped up with some deliciousness, get them back on to finish out, and I can't wait to try these. So we'll meet you in the house, we'll get these wrapped up. You're gonna wanna see this, and you're definitely gonna wanna see how the finished product is. See you in a bit. All right, so here are the ribs now that they come off. You can see they have wonderful color. They're looking really, really good, nice and juicy. One thing I did want to show here, hopefully you can see that, you got some yellow pork fat right there popping. That is exactly what you want to see on your ribs. Means you're getting a good sizz on them, and everything is looking really, really good. So if you see that pork fat, just know your ribs are being cooked proper. Now to wrap up these ribs, going with the usual couple pats of butter here. And then we are going to come in with some of the Suckle Busters, honey barbecue glaze, and finishing sauce. This is gonna be our sweet element here. Then we're gonna be using some of the rib candy. This is the apple cherry habanero, no peppers. This stuff is awesome. I use this in my comp ribs. It's just gonna add a nice little bit of sweet heat, which is what we are going for. And then finally, we're gonna be using Puck's Barbecue Shootout. This is habanero heat. This is a Minnesota product, local to me. James makes this. This stuff is absolutely amazing. Not only is it delicious, but it also got a perfect 180 score at the American Royal Sauce competition. So awesome stuff right here. This is going to be a little bit of sweet heat as well. So we'll just pour that in like so. We're going to take our ribs and we're going to put them meat side down, just like that. Now at this point, we're just gonna get them wrapped up. All right, so we have our ribs all wrapped up. We have that sweet heat element we are looking for in our rib wrap. At this point, they're gonna go back on to the Weber kettle, and I'm just gonna let them cook until they're nice and tender. Probably check them in about an hour. We're still gonna be rocking probably around 250 to 275, somewhere in there. And yeah, I'm gonna give them an hour, check them for tenderness, and see how they look. So we'll see you in 1 hour. All right, guys, so it has been an hour and a half. I came out at the hour mark and checked the ribs, and they were not tender. So I gave them another half hour, and we're gonna see how they're looking. All right, so let's get these opened up. And yeah, I'd say that those are gonna be done. Generally, when these bones start blowing out like that, it's a good indication that things are done. I'm just probing here, probing like absolute butter. If you're a temperature person, 204.5, your ribs will be perfect every time if you cook them to that temperature. No, they won't. Don't worry about temperature. Cook to tenderness. I've had ribs go as high as 211 degrees before. So let's get these out of the wrap and see how they look. Yeah, I'd say that is a nice looking rack of ribs right there. Some strong pullback. Let me get this foil out of here. And now we're just gonna set the ribs back on the grate and allow this top rack to start drying out before we sauce it. Just helps with the color, helps the sauce look a little bit better. So let's get this covered up. This is only gonna take a couple minutes to set back up, so we will see you in a couple minutes. All right, and just like that, it's been a couple minutes and you can see that color popped right back on those ribs. They are looking fantastic. Now at this point, we're gonna take our sauce and sauce it up. And all this is just a mixture of the same sauces that we wrapped with. We have the Puck's Habanero Heat, we have the Texas Pepper Jelly, Apple Cherry Habanero, and the Sucklebuster's Honey Barbecue Glaze and Finishing Sauce. So that's what we're using to sauce today. We'll just get this rack all sauced up nice. Paint those bones. What up, Bob Ross? And look at that shine on there from these sauces. Man, these are looking good. And there we go. That is it. We are gonna let this sauce set for just a few minutes and we'll get these ribs off, let them cool, and we will get to try these Firecracker ribs. See you in a bit. All right, and just like that, after a few minutes, our cherry smoked Firecracker ribs are done and looking beautiful. We have a great color on there. We have a great pullback. We know they're gonna be tender. I know that cherry wood is giving great smoke flavor, but is this gonna be a big bang Firecracker explosion of flavor? We're gonna find out in about 20 minutes when these ribs cool. I'm gonna get these off. We'll meet you inside for the taste test. See you in a bit. All right, so here are our Firecracker ribs after they've cooled down a little bit. You can see we have amazing color. We have a nice shine from the sauce. We got some great pullback, and you know your ribs are gonna be good when they look like a bald eagle flying free as can be. Nice bend on them, not breaking. They look perfect. Let's slice them up and see how we did. Check out that rib, a ton of moisture in there, great color. This is looking absolutely awesome. Let's jump out and let's do the taste test. All right, it's the moment of truth. We're gonna try these Firecracker ribs and see if they live up to their name. Big old meaty rib here, looking really good. Let's see how we did. Got a really good flavor from the sauce. We have wonderful flavor from the SPG hot and my honey chipotle. When it hits your tongue, it's not super hot right off the bat. You get more of a sweet, but then after you chew it up, you get a little bit of the hot on your tongue just to let you know it's there. It's not crazy. There's a lot of different flavors going on here, but they're all working really well together. That cherry wood smoke just brings a wonderful flavor to pork. It's my favorite wood for pork. I'm going in for another bite here. You can see the rib is still hanging on the bone. It's not overcooked, it's not falling off the bone, but you can just pull it right off like that. Now you got a boneless rib. I would definitely say that these Firecracker ribs live up to their name. They got so much flavor, there's so much juiciness, just nice tender bite of barbecue. This is exactly what I'm looking for to celebrate the 4th of July. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, stay safe. We'll see you next time, and happy 4th of July.